The quiet desperation in her eyes as she counted those pennies, one by one, struck something deep inside me. I never intended to become part of someone else's story that day at the grocery store, but sometimes life puts you exactly where you need to be. My name is Michael, and what I witnessed changed not just her life, but mine too. If this is your first time joining us on this channel, I hope you'll stay for this journey. It might just restore your faith in humanity. If you find yourself moved by this story, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to hear more real stories of everyday heroes. The fluorescent lights of Save Mart buzzed overhead as I navigated the aisles with my 7-year-old daughter, Emma. It was our weekly shopping trip, a mundane Tuesday evening ritual that had become our special time since her mother left 3 years ago. Emma chatted excitedly about her science project while I checked items off our list, trying to stretch my paycheck as far as possible. "Daddy, can we get ice cream?" Emma tugged at my sleeve, her hopeful eyes making it hard to say no despite our tight budget. "Maybe next time, sweetheart," I said, ruffling her hair. "We need to stick to our list today." Emma's disappointment was fleeting, a luxury of childhood, but it reminded me of all the times I'd had to say no lately. Being a single father working as a high school history teacher meant careful financial planning, especially with rising rent in our neighborhood. We rounded the corner to check out lane 4 when I noticed her, a young woman with 2 small children. The boy couldn't have been older than 4, and she carried a baby girl who was perhaps 8 months old. What caught my attention wasn't her worn coat or the exhaustion etched into her face, but the small pile of coins she was carefully counting onto the counter. "I'm sorry," she whispered to the cashier, her voice barely audible. I thought I had enough. The items on the conveyor belt told a story of their own: diapers, milk, bread, peanut butter, and a small bunch of bananas. Not luxuries, necessities. The cashier, a teenager with acne and impatience, sighed loudly. "You're still $12.47 short, ma'am." The woman's hands trembled as she dug deeper into her purse, searching for coins that weren't there. Her little boy looked up at her, confusion in his eyes. "Mommy, can we go home now?" "Just a minute, Tyler," she said, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. People behind her began to shift uncomfortably. Someone muttered about opening another lane. The woman's cheeks flushed with embarrassment as she began to separate items, deciding what her children could do without. I felt Emma's hand slip from mine as she moved closer to the little boy. "Hi," she said brightly. "I like your dinosaur shirt." The boy's face lit up. "It's a T-Rex. He's the king of dinosaurs." Their innocent exchange contrasted sharply with the adult tension unfolding. The woman looked at Emma with grateful eyes before turning back to her impossible math problem. I knew that look. I'd worn it myself in the early days after becoming a single parent, that mixture of love, determination, and bone-deep fear of failing the little ones who depend on you. Before I could second-guess myself, I stepped forward. "Excuse me," I said, moving to the counter. "I'd like to cover the rest of her bill." The woman's head snapped up, her eyes wide with surprise and something that looked like defensive pride. "No, please, that's not necessary," she said quickly. "I can put some things back." "I insist," I replied, already handing my card to the cashier. We all need a hand sometimes. Our eyes met, and in that moment, I recognized something familiar, not just the struggle, but the strength it takes to face each day when you're the only one your children can count on. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice catching. I don't know what to say. "No need to say anything," I assured her. "I've been where you are." As the cashier finished the transaction, Emma had already made friends with little Tyler, showing him her favorite stickers on her notebook. The baby gurgled happily from her mother's arms. "I'm Michael," I said, offering my hand. "And that's my daughter, Emma." "Lisa," she replied, her handshake firm despite her earlier trembling. "And you've met Tyler. This is Mia." We helped Lisa load her groceries into her cart, and something made me ask if she needed a ride home. Perhaps it was the worn-out stroller leaning against the wall or the thought of her walking in the growing darkness with 2 small children and groceries. "We're just a few blocks away," she said hesitantly. "But thank you. We have plenty of room," Emma chimed in. "And Daddy's car has a car seat for Mia." Lisa looked at her children, then outside at the darkening sky. "If you're sure it's no trouble." The drive to Lisa's apartment was short but revealing. She lived in Oakwood Heights, a complex I knew well because I'd considered it when downsizing after the divorce. The rent was lower, but the building had seen better days. "We just moved here last month," Lisa explained as I helped carry her groceries up 3 flights of stairs. The elevator was out of service, again, according to a neighbor we passed. "After Brian, my husband, died, we couldn't afford our old place." The words hung in the air between us. Not divorced. Widowed. Her apartment was small but meticulously clean. A folding table served as both dining area and Lisa's workspace, covered with textbooks and notebooks. "I'm studying to be a nurse," she explained, noticing my glance. "Night classes, when my neighbor can watch the kids. During the day, I work at the call center downtown." Emma and Tyler had already discovered a box of building blocks, while Mia watched from her bouncy seat. "Coffee?" Lisa offered. "It's the least I can do." Over coffee served in mismatched mugs, Lisa's story unfolded. Brian had been a construction worker, no life insurance, just some savings that quickly disappeared with the funeral costs and medical bills. She'd been halfway through nursing school when he died of a sudden heart attack at 34. "The hardest part isn't even the money," she confided, watching the children play. "It's the loneliness of the decisions. Should I pay the electric bill or buy diapers? Should I finish school or work more hours? There's no one to help figure it out." I nodded, understanding completely. After my ex-wife left, I used to stay up staring at spreadsheets, trying to make the numbers work. Some nights I'd call my brother just to hear another adult tell me I wasn't ruining Emma's life. Lisa laughed, a genuine sound that transformed her tired face. "Last week, I had a full conversation with the refrigerator about whether Tyler needs new shoes now or if they can wait until next month." "The refrigerator is very wise," I said solemnly. "Mine specializes in budget advice and bedtime story critiques." Our shared laughter felt like releasing a breath I hadn't known I was holding. There was something powerful about being understood without explanation. As Emma and I prepared to leave, I hesitated at the door. "Lisa, would you and the kids like to join us for dinner this weekend? Emma's been begging to try out this new pizza place with a playground." The invitation surprised me as much as it did her. I hadn't socialized much since becoming a single parent, too busy, too complicated. Lisa studied my face, perhaps looking for hidden motives. Finding none, she smiled. "We'd like that." "Thank you." That dinner led to a playground meetup the following week, which led to a routine of Sunday afternoon activities, the children playing while Lisa and I talked about everything and nothing. We shared parenting hacks, budget tips, and gradually, deeper parts of ourselves. I learned that Lisa sang in the shower and had wanted to be a marine biologist before practical considerations led her to nursing. She discovered my collection of historical fiction and my embarrassing ability to recite entire scenes from 90s sitcoms. 3 months after our grocery store encounter, Lisa called me in tears. Her babysitter had canceled, her final exam was that evening, and the call center had threatened to fire her if she missed another shift. "I'll watch the kids," I offered immediately. "Emma will be thrilled for a playdate." That night, as Lisa rushed off to her exam in borrowed professional clothes, my sister's, kept in my closet after a visit, I found myself building a blanket fort with 3 children, making shadow puppets on the walls and feeling more content than I had in years. When Lisa returned, flushed with the certainty she'd passed, she joined our fort, her formal clothes incongruous among the pillows and flashlights. "I couldn't have done this without you," she said quietly after the children had fallen asleep. Tyler and Emma curled together like puppies while Mia slumbered in her portable crib. "You would have found a way," I replied. "You're the strongest person I know." "Strong doesn't mean you have to do everything alone," she said, her eyes holding mine in the dim light. "That's what I'm learning." 6 months after the day in the grocery store, our families had developed a rhythm. We shared meals several times a week, traded childcare, and pooled resources. Emma adored being a big sister to Tyler and Mia. Lisa and I found in each other not just romantic potential, but a partnership built on mutual respect and understanding. The day Lisa graduated from nursing school, Emma and I sat with Tyler and Mia, cheering loudly as she crossed the stage. Her first job offer came a week later, a position at the children's hospital with benefits and a salary that meant no more counting pennies at the checkout counter. We celebrated with a picnic in the park, and as the children chased bubbles across the grass, Lisa turned to me. "Do you believe in fate?" she asked. "That day in the store, what if you'd chosen a different checkout line? What if you'd gone shopping on Wednesday instead?" I watched Emma showing Tyler how to make a perfect bubble wand, their heads bent together in concentration. "I don't know about fate," I said honestly. "But I believe in being open to possibilities, even when they come disguised as problems. If I hadn't struggled myself, I might not have recognized what was happening with you that day." Lisa leaned her head against my shoulder. "Our broken pieces fit together pretty well, don't they?" A year after our first meeting, Lisa and I stood in that same grocery store, this time with a shared shopping list and a joint account to pay for it. Our wedding had been small, just the children, close friends, and family in my backyard, with Emma and Tyler arguing good-naturedly over who got to hold the rings. Moving in together had meant a bigger place for all of us, with room for Lisa's nursing books, my historical maps, and the children's ever-expanding collections of treasures. We still budgeted carefully, but the panic of financial insecurity had eased. As we pushed our cart through the store, I noticed a young man at the checkout, counting change from his pocket while his toddler sat in the cart. The cashier was the same impatient teenager from a year ago, now sighing dramatically as the man came up short. Lisa and I exchanged a glance, no words needed. "Excuse me," Lisa said, approaching them. "We'd like to cover the difference." The young father looked up with the same mixture of embarrassment and gratitude I'd seen on Lisa's face that first day. "Thank you," he said gruffly. "It's been a rough month." "We understand," I replied. "More than you know." As we helped him to his car, Lisa invited him and his daughter to a community dinner at our church, a support group for single parents that we'd helped organize. He took the information with cautious hope. That night, after the children were asleep, Lisa and I sat on our porch swing, her head on my shoulder as we watched the stars. "Do you ever think about how different things might have been?" she asked. "If you hadn't been there that day?" I thought about the lonely evenings before Lisa and her children had filled our lives with chaos and love. I thought about the strength we'd found in sharing our burdens instead of carrying them alone. "I think we were both doing the best we could," I said. "But I'm grateful every day that I was in that checkout line." Lisa smiled, taking my hand. "From pennies to prosperity." "The prosperity isn't in the bank account," I corrected gently. "It's right here." Our story isn't extraordinary in its events. People face hardships and overcome them every day. What makes it worth sharing is the reminder that behind every person counting pennies at a checkout counter, every parent saying, "Not this time," to their child's simple request, there's a whole human story of struggle and resilience. Sometimes all it takes is one person noticing, one moment of connection to change the trajectory of a life, or several lives. The simple act of seeing someone's pain and stepping forward can create ripples that transform not just their world, but yours too. If this story touched you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more real stories of everyday courage and connection. And the next time you see someone counting pennies at a checkout counter, remember, that person has a story, just like Lisa, just like me. Sometimes the smallest gestures of kindness open doors to the greatest chapters of our lives.